are these people?
Hi, I didn't see you there. Cy Oppenheimer here, working class man of the grassroots people. And I'm excited to announce that with the help of my friends at Monsanto, I'm going to be running for state seat 12 so we can get big money out of politics. See, for too long in Washington, corporate lobbyists have drowned out the passionate squeals of the working man, the little man. And I aim to change that. I want to hear your squeals because your voices matter. Your stories matter. That's a value I share with the big families at Unilever and PepsiCo. I built a career out of fighting for the underdogs like Amazon and Boeing. And now I'm ready to take the fight right to the corruption in Washington, D.C. If I can count on you to contribute a mere $27 to this campaign, I can get to work making sure $27 feels like a lot more money to you next year. And now, some classic bamboozling, and you're going to eat up every second of it. I have always been a staunch supporter of the concept of a living wage. I am a tireless defender of Medicare for all in theory, but I think we can all agree it's a slippery slope. I believe that America can be virtually accessible to practically everyone. Education is a critical, fundamental cornerstone of the basic building blocks at the heart of America's essential understanding and core cultural knowledge, capacity, tools. I'm Cy Oppenheimer, and my inhuman corporate owners approve this message, so I do too. Cy Oppenheimer, real change we can talk about.
Rewind, true change won't make you wait in such a long line. Life's not just a way to waste your free time. Air that's fit to breathe is not a free ride. Free ride.
Hello, somebody desperate. Hello, somebody gullible. Hello, anyone left who can swallow the bait who ain't already rocking a stomach full. Maybe they knew and they ate it the same because there's no other way to assure that their stomach's full. Maybe they just know that they love the taste, so they'll put it away by the shovelful. So hello to somebody trying to feed us the light blue shit like it tastes any different or makes any Democrat any less culpable. Hello to someone who couldn't be troubled to mention a march for the healthcare struggle and spent the day cozy with donors who matter, who keep your progressives all wealthy and comfortable. I recommend your protests be anything but peaceable and all your disobedience be decidedly uncivil. You don't need a permit to declare that you have principles. And love, it's only natural that seeing all these fascist assholes stacking up the Capitol would manifest in something loud and passionate and visceral. Keep it in your heart, because it's the only way we'll ever start to flesh out something livable. Maybe that was literal. Maybe our utopia is built from all the sinews of the moderates and liberals, salvaged when they broke their backs with NPR gymnastics, simultaneously hiding from the truth while sticking out their necks for pedophiles, Nazis, and the upper fucking echelon of World War criminals. But baby doll, it's not your fault. It's really all subliminal. They've sewn the propaganda into every thread of visuals, grown the propaganda off of truly noisome victuals. Rows of propaganda propagated out of ritual, straight into your ocular and straight out your occipital, straight up to the point you flip on everything that's pivotal. Any crucial aspect of survival for the middle class becomes that holy unicorn you ridicule and snicker at and praise each piece of legislature dancing round the borders of the looking glass. It's not truly possible to try and stop the suffering of people that you spend each waking moment simply looking past. Walking past a sobbing homeless family like, look at that. Bet they'd be in better shape if they'd have voted Democrat. Hello, somebody ignorant enough to still believe that there's some fundamental difference in the moral stance between the couple barrels that they're staring at. Like one's just got a slug, the other's loaded up with sarin gas. Both of them are pointed at your temple, and they're both equipped to make this breath your final gasp. So hello, somebody dense enough to split the hairs of which one is the kinder executioner with what will be their final task. Vote Nina, 24.
Well, we couldn't do it 22. Sorry. So we're now pinning, and let's kick that can a little further down the road. And again, if she runs an independent, let's see if she actually does call them two bowls of shit. And if she does, I'll give her all the credit in the world. I gotta say, look,
But those days are gone, but you never know.
but
I've been wrong before.
we've all been wrong before, and she's shown herself to be running as a Democrat and be loyal to Democrats, and we're not. We understand that. So
I mean, she even said, I'm paraphrasing, but if you're disappointed in the squad's vote today, on a day we were all disappointed in the squad's vote, you'll be disappointed in my votes. And that's something I was equally disappointed to hear Shahid Buttar say. That if you're disappointed with that, I'll probably have to go with the flow too, to some degree. I'm like, again, I guess good for you for admitting it now and saving some people the time. But again, it's like, what hope do we have when people are admitting, they're like, again, I can only run into the burning building and do so much, I can like.
You're driving an 05 GMC, isn't that right? Who was driving the 05 GMC? I called
That's my studio.
I called back that. That was great. See, some people do listen to all the words and absorb them. Reading,
and that's why
too.
You're Ed McMahon, motherfucker.
I'm the co-pilot. I'm just here. I'm just here to push the buttons so the dude can play the music. Poop trucks now. Okay, Jenna Colby. I don't know what that. Poop trucks? I don't know what poop trucks are, but I'm guessing that Jesse might know the reference to that.
I don't.
I don't
Oh,
know
poop trucks. No, the French protests. They were backing up poop trucks.
Oh, right.
They're backing up the truck.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That took me a minute. No, I smell what you're stepping in. That's it.
Who are these people?
Okay. Yeah, this is smear campaign. How quickly our voices went mute. How quickly we went from the top of the food chain to looting the orchard for low-hanging fruit. Scavengers happy to pick at the flesh on a corpse in a suit. And the corpse knows the game, so he plays it in spades, because that's just what you do. He was born in the blight, and it whitened him right to the rot in his root. He'll be happy to help us along to the farms where livestock comes out of a tube, where the berries are bluer than nature saw fit to make blue, where they patted themselves on the back when they mimicked the flavor of actual fruit, regardless that during the process they wasted it pound after pound in relentless pursuit. All the better to sweeten the medicine they can provide when your doctor assigns a disorder to you. That pain in your gut is the burden of proof. This is the weight of the truth. Now, how can you face me and say that this isn't a sign of disorder to you? We don't have long till the measures they take at our borders are put into place down the corner from you, where you huddle and pray, where you work, where you stay, where your kids go to school. And all the I told you so's I'll be entitled to scream will never live up to the dream when you can't tell the difference between a brutal regime and government rule. These are the triumphs of man. Wait, no, these are the follies of fools. We are the many, so we are the powerful. Wait, no, neutered and caged, we live the life of a shark in a pool. Studied, provoked, and contained, brimming with rage that simmers and cools at the hint of a glittering jewel, 'cause money is the ticket to get in the gate. Money's the food on the plate. Everyone paid to play. Money determines what we won't allow you to say. Money dictates the path to fame. Money's the factor deciding how quickly you get to the grave. Also the site of your grave. Also the lead in your water, and whether we think that you ought to take action or think that it's probably safe. And I bet you the darker the shade of your neighbor's face, the greater the chance of delay, greater the chance that they leave you to find your own way. Pull yourself up by the strap of your boots and wish all of your poverty, debt, and depression away. Pick up a hobby or turn to your faith. And that's easy to say when you have the weight of the whole pharmaceutical industry helping you trample the peasants who speak against what you create, what you support, who you obey. What graphic back-scratching brought us to this shameful place? What bloated lobbying resigned us to this hateful state? I, for one, will not accept a copy, watered down or not, of the embarrassment that holds our present office. I will not support a rambling idiot to lead us with a shred of promise. And I will not endorse a lecherous, decrepit, aimless husk who answers every tough question with a rude comment. How is all this irony not hitting his supporters like a fucking comet? That this is Diet Trump at best, but with an extra dash of chemical corruption in his pockets. See, in reality, you cannot fight a fire with a fire because it doesn't stop it. You cannot fight a liar with a liar who is just a normal liar and not a master bullshit artist. We're gonna miss the simple days of being livestock when suddenly the farmer tells us all along that we're the crops and it's the day of harvest. And I would rather rot and spoil than be taken to the market. And I heard that the farmer makes a killing when the yield is unfulfilling, so it's better business sense to throw us all into the garbage. I'm Joe Biden. I approved your collar and the gash in your retirement, took your CBD away and swapped out OxyContin for your vitamins. I will lead you back into the blaze like a rewound fireman. Vote for me if you want things the way they used to be before we cared for the environment. Deeper down the rabbit hole of corporate entitlement. And into the abyss of I'll take anything but this. If that's what you call choice, I choose denying it. Into the abyss of I'll take anything but this. God, if that's what you call choice, I choose denying it. That smear campaign.
Who are these people?
Lucy this morning asked, she said she was going to be doing a show talking about the Bernie 2024 prospect that's been kicked around. And she said, you think you could write something about Bernie 2024? And I was like, you know what? I think I could. Let's give it a shot. And 3 hours later, I had this piece and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go. I'm really, really happy with this piece. And I think some people will and some people really won't. And that's kind of the fun of it. Yeah, this is all about our prospect of 2024 Bernie Sanders. This is called Shepherd of Hopes. If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry, it's spent a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding, waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They gladly give their fleece, it's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat, they don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, not me, us, as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're gonna stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines and all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly they'll speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly those sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. Now it's zero dark, all is calm and peaceful, save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly the carrot's just a string that's on a stick and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leeching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. It's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong. Not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along, because someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along, broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday, supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc. Vote Bernie 2024.
Holy shit, man. Ah, Bernie 2024!
Who are these people?
So the next one is a song title that is near and dear. Right?
Yeah, so, and this title is kind of indicative of a little side project that got away from me. With a few other songs that I intend to connect to a theme in these lyrics. Hey, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
And you know what? This might be a great thing for me and Crab to do together, actually, because this might be right up his alley. But I mentioned in the lyrics of this piece, the spirit of Biden exists in a cursed medallion that rose out of hell like smoke in the form of 1,000 stallions. And I really wanted to have a few songs with this kind of concept album theme where, like, the government obtains this ancient satanic amulet, and it's too powerful to exist on its own, so they split it into several pieces, and they put one in Joe Biden, they put one in Strom Thurmond, they put one in Dick Cheney's pacemaker, and there's like a song surrounding each one. Obviously that got put on the back burner, and then once I ran out of burner space, it got put back in the fridge for a while. So the subtitle for this, mainly because I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, is Jesse Jett and the Case of the Cursed Medallion.
Awesome.
But this was the one that I lost an awful lot of sanity points having to cut this clip out. And I had to do it again today because I thought I had it as a sample, but I recorded it as just a vocal track. So when I wanted to use it tonight in this spoken word piece, I needed to go through and find it again. It was a blessing in disguise because the sample that I use of Joe Biden here, I end his infamous whisper clip with the line, a Democratic president wants 100,000 cops. And had I let it go a little further, after his, this is the whole bit where he says that that's the secret. And he gets all weird and whispery. After he says about the cops, he says a Democratic president wants to build 125,000 jail cells. And then he yells, that's the secret.
Oh my
and
God.
I never knew he did that until today. And like, I want to re-record the song so badly now because I fucking want it in there. But I'm going to have to settle for tonight as I do this spoken word for the first time with Joe Biden as my little companion. We're going to include, we're going to close out instead of just the clip that I used before, the actual continuation of his speech. 1993, defending his crime bill.
Love it.
This is, yeah. Here we go. This is convention.
All right, let's. Oh, we're doing convention now, not redacted. Okay, so sorry, I got convention.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Jesse did. Oh, Case of Cursed Medallion. There we go.
Yep. Here we go.
That makes more sense.
Because guess what? What has every major crime bill that's gotten this far been?
A Democratic crime bill. A Democratic crime bill. That's the secret. A Democratic crime bill. A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops. Now, I guess in the end that it's just a crapshoot. Who denounces the true you versus who backs you? Knowing you would skin the poor to make a tracksuit. Knowing you'd begin a few wars if your overlords asked you. Knowing that the ink's not dry on the last few. And knowing that your voters aren't living in a goddamn vacuum. We see through you, Joe. We see past you. Joe, we know you only want to kick trans folks out the bathrooms. Spittle up some dreck about family values. That's the secret. Take away our weed and then say that we just need Valium. Joe Biden, patron saint of big pharma, knows no karma, and all of our media paints him as valiant. But I'm here to tell you the spirit of Biden exists in a cursed medallion that rose out of hell like smoke in the form of 1,000 stallions, a dead battalion. Their eyes blood red with a lust for the violence of racial injustice. That's the secret. I come to bury Joe and burn a candle for Augustus. And it's maybe not a song you would dance to, but something of substance. Something in place that can warn you when liberals lie and they're looking you straight in the eye and they say you can trust us. That's the secret. I come to bury Joe and burn a candle for Augustus. Now, maybe you didn't get what I meant. This is not a political event. It's the winter of our discontent. Half of us will not make rent. I might burn my masters just to keep warm. Big white lies. No silver lining under smoke gray skies. And all of the streets ran red, but the blood sure kept our feet warm. So vote for the wolf or the wolf in sheep form. Defund police before we're all deformed. Take our free speech, we could speak in the tongues of C4, because our lungs need more to send us packing than tear gas thrown from the hands of fascists who kill their cams and take off their badges, all while Biden and Kamala fund our assassins and offer us nothing but platitudes. They'll tell us go out and vote and then clean up your attitudes. Well, Joe, fuck you to death and the donors you fed us to. Go out and vote and then clean up your attitudes. A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops. A Democratic president wants to build 125,000 new prison cells. That's the secret.
Oh my god. That's the secret, huh? Oh, okay. I did not know that that was a secret, but apparently that's a secret.
What a sadist.
Oh,
man. God damn.
Who are these people?
But yeah, here we go. Speaker of the House.
I watched a man decide to stand up for us, then watch them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be safe.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I love ice cream,
I enjoy it.
but not as much as watching people forced out of their homes.
I like it better than anything else.
Watching people forced out in the streets to live alone, and knowing that I own every homeless set of bones.
I don't know why, but it seems to agree with me. I have a lot of energy.
And it's all more support for my hideous and ill-gotten throne. The weight of which is too much for you to bear alone, which is why you ended up threadbare alone, kicked off your benefits and left to your own. See, the diner that you worked at was told that it could open up its doors, but there's no clientele, and it's probably just as well because half of the staff didn't last, so they can't come to work anymore. You can't expect a corpse to pull itself through the door to flip omelets for $8 an hour anymore. Make your own food, clean your own floors, fake your own news, fill a whole morgue. Get a film crew out front, but don't let them in the doors. Let's keep it frontline heroes, America soldiers, you know the score. Joe knows the score. I watched the man decide to stand up for us, then watch them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be safe. Now stop saying the election is so goddamn important. Start telling Joe he needs to rein in his supporters. Oh, that's right. Joe can't even rein in his tongue behind his resin molars. So pardon me for asking for some faculties from somebody vying to control us. I mean, the man is not quite yet speechless, but you can bet he's soulless. And if you thought he would stop the greatest threat that ever held a public office, then you might have been Joe's equal in the ignorance department. But I can guarantee you we will finish what we started, a rabid coalition of activists and politicians, sex workers, educators, artists, all of those who followed Bernie so close and who fell the farthest, who will not falter until all of us are cared for, regardless of whether it would turn a profit. Now, I am not a leader or a teacher or a prophet, but I am here to proudly say today is the day I start campaigning for the role of Speaker of the House that we will build from the bones of the old Congress. And when I say bones, I do not mean framework or stones. I mean literally bones of the old guard keeping us from progress. I mean tonight's the last dawn before things get their darkest. The calm before the storm, the calm before the harvest. I mean, tonight's the last dawn before things get their darkest. I watched a man decide to stand up for us, then watched them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be saved. That's Speaker of the House.
Who are these people?
This is Tyrant Tartare. A symphony of occupying sirens. Strike before you fired up your irons. Drop you to the dog pack, slice you up, divide you up amongst the lions. Everybody chasing for a tiny taste of the lifestyle of a tyrant. Me, I only want a taste of tyrant. I like my meat rare with a red still vibrant. No one wants to work, so we're now hiring any hungry product of impoverished environs who's desperate enough to eat, to work a 40-hour week and still not make a single end that meets another end beside it. Before you even knew to speak, your poverty was long decided. Your future preordained into a potter's field the state provided. Heaven sent and laser guided. Straight into the mouths of those who saw the truth and kept it quiet. Right into the parasite that works the nerve that bought their silence. Somewhere undisclosed within the Virgin Islands. Where stomach-turning irony is the likeliest of private pilots. Drop a little weight off over open ocean's rolling mileage. Never ask a sleeping agent what's behind those rolling eyelids. Never ask a decent act of Joseph Biden. Never ask a voting blue, no matter who Democrat, about their favorite politician's finance. Or just how many licks until they're crashing off their Vyvanse. And come down to the brutal truth of shackled feet and tied hands. Rolling amber waves of piss that soak your broken promised land. For worse or better, I will live and die an honest man who crawled and clawed and fought to stand where truer words were contraband, where human birth was in demand, regardless of your circumstance, so you were forced to term by laws that never saw a doctor's hands. So a plague on both the houses of the ruling class. May all their shifting sands be burned to pools of cooling glass, so everywhere they look, their own reflections drooling back with hungry eyes, unrecognized, unverified, and Bible black.
Who are these people?
This is Scraps.
perception down to the ground and see it swallowed by the snow. Maybe the open mind is a void where nothing ever really grows. Maybe you're outside and I'm in the confines of what I know. But I lost my voice out here, and without it I am never going home. Never going home. Never going. Our voice is being stolen. Picture me, capital steps, eyes swollen, carrying a sign reading "We are being lied to." If healthcare for all was a full nude, Mitch McConnell's only giving side boob. Only making promises to wave a little hope right in your face and then deny you. So pardon me if I would rather burn my fucking vote to defy you. And I hope it makes you hate me, makes you feel like I'm just wasting any chance of bringing change. But I am not complicit in what brought us to this place, and I will not support us being further led astray. And I don't care the color hearse that carries us away. The filth on both the blue and red makes us sickly gray, and it sickens me to witness just how quickly we obey, how quickly we accept the meager scraps that fall our way. Scraps supposed to last us 30 days, scraps that barely cover bills that can't be paid, and scraps that couldn't pay for Nancy's chocolate for a day. And all the thoughts and prayers in the world can't fix it, cause I'm drowning in my thoughts and I don't fucking pray. If this is where you tell me that's the problem, there's the door, pal. Thanks for staying. And if Jill's right, all you have to do is just swallow, and you can play the game. In that case, Jill, I won't be playing. So how about you save your blame and try to change somebody who still doesn't know which way they're swaying? I won't vote for a rapist, that's all I'm saying. And when they asked if I had any last words, honey, I did my impression of a spectator at Wimbledon. Back and forth, back and forth. I hope that answers your question, you simpleton. Throw your perception down to the ground and see it swallowed by the snow. Or maybe the open mind is a void where nothing ever really grows. Maybe you're outside and I'm in the confines of what I know. I lost my voice out here, and without it I am never going home. I'm never going home. Never going home.
I love that one.
That's scraps.
Scraps.
Who are these people?
This is called Hymn for the Expendable.
What a time to be so used. I didn't know I was a soldier till the sacrifice was over, and I didn't get to choose. Oh, I didn't get to choose. I didn't get to choose. Somewhere there's a mother worried, sick about her daughter. Cause when she starts her shift, she's set adrift on dark, uncharted waters. You can say that she's some hero, but her mom will tell you that she's just another lamb that's being sent to slaughter.
and that she'll be damned to see her baby girl be someone else's fodder. And if it has to burn, then let it burn. She could smile at the shock on all the faces of you people who could not be bothered, who couldn't think outside your sphere of needs and problems, who shrug off someone else's fears and cannot feel enough to grieve another's losses. They won't want to be around when the oppressed rewrite the message, cause it's eat the rich and skin your bosses. Fuck around and find out. You can try to earn a vote, or you can burn a vote and count your losses. But what you pass off as unity is truly something nauseous, truly something toxic to a cause so truly conscious. God, look at what we're fighting for. Look inside the heart of who we fought to put in office. And ask yourself just what could be in someone else's heart that makes them fight to try to stop this. Or what makes them think that they could stop this.
Oh, what a time to be so needed. What a time to be so used. I didn't know I was a soldier till the sacrifice was over. I didn't get to choose. I didn't get to choose. I didn't get to choose.
Bada boom.
Yeah, that definitely slaps as a acoustic. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Aim for the Expendable. Yeah, no, that fits really nicely.
Who are these people?
I watch an awful lot of people shit on Susan Sarandon and blame her for everything under the sun. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a song where I'm blaming Susan for ludicrous things that obviously she couldn't be at fault for. And a whole bunch of people still thought I was being serious because people won't listen the whole way through something. I figured if I'm blaming her for wildfires and floods, that people have to know I'm kidding. But there is no nuance to be had on the old Bird app. And yeah, so here we go. This is for Susan. This is called How Could You, Susan?
I remember well the golden age, 2015, feeling like the world would be okay. Till Susan came along, and just to suit her selfish needs, she went and tanked the Hillary campaign. So you can go thank Susan for those nightmare years of Trump. You can thank her when he wins in 24. And if I had the chance, I'd ask why she won't cancel debt, or why she made inflation simply soar. I'd say, how could you, Susan, just throw us to the wolves? And why'd you let those wildfires burn? Oh, why'd you make Joe Biden take back every single promise he made back when he still had votes to earn? How could you condemn us to a ruling fascist hand? And how much did they pay you for your part in Putin's plan? How could you destroy us with such reckless, cold abandon, Miss Sarandon? How could you?
I have almost all the lyrics in my head. I was singing along, like I've got almost all of them down. It's so good, so damn funny. It's great to see the look on somebody's face the first time they hear those words. Oh, you can't ever get that back. It's so good.
Hi, Cy Oppenheimer here, working class man of the Classroots people. And you know, when I was a young tyke running around my father's gorgeously appointed mansion, I looked up to the Democrats as a party of hope, trust, and kept promises. But the Democratic Party of today is largely complicit in stonewalling the progress of the American people in the hopes of furthering their own outlandish wealth. And that's why I am running as a Democrat.
Because I am ambitious enough to take this moment in history and to use it to my advantage. And you're all just desperate enough to believe in me.
And that is how we win. See, with corruption running rampant and greed taking over DC, many Democrats are taking plenty more than their fair share and are lining their pockets with thick, swollen wads of corporate cash. American politics has quickly become an all-you-can-eat buffet of bribery and insider trading. Which is why it's imperative that you get me to Washington immediately. So with the help of my friends at BlackRock, I intend to charge into the burning building that is our political landscape and to single-handedly do what no politician before has managed to do. Completely overhaul the entire system, convince the wealthiest Americans that they've had enough, and finally get our elected officials to make good on their word. And that's a promise that comes from me and Raytheon CEO Greg Hayes, who is my legitimate son, Reagan Kissinger Oppenheimer's godfather. I'm Cy Oppenheimer, working class grass of the man roots people, and I've been told that I approve this message. Thank you. May God bless every American with a median income of at least $75,000. Cy Oppenheimer. Change you are absolutely going to believe in.
They're following the pipeline of how the West was won to how the West declined, to how the West made debt into a genocide, to how the West demolishes a picket line.
Who are these people?
This is the first piece I wrote about East Palestine. I think just maybe 2 or 3 days after the fact. This is called Supersite, Children of the Fuselage. 100,000 pounds of vinyl chloride burned into the air and in the water with your fluoride. Today we'll demonstrate the role that profit plays in cost-benefit analysis to find the worth of your lives. Mind you, we'll be grading on a curve that traces dead fish on the shoreline. Today, the town of East Palestine will know the skies of wartime, wear the shoes of Palestine, and know the smell of war crimes. Their pets and livestock will be corpses for the war shrine. This is how you sanction all your farmland in the Fourth Reich. I'm honestly surprised that Pete addressed it in a fortnight. Praised the first responders, but ignored the looming morgue line. Like, focus on the cavalry, ignore that every horse died. Never mind there's not a single cricket, bird, or horsefly. It's just triclops in the triage tent who expedite the foride. Norfolk taking pages out the Northwoods, north side. Add a dash of NORAD, plant a row of soil mines, give them lots of black skies and water bright with oil shine, and you can propagate the kind of crop that Gates will normalize. So save your time and give up ever going back to normal life. Norfolk cut its cost, and now this nation pays the morbid price. Norfolk weighed the loss as purely human, so they rolled the dice, knowing Biden had their backs when workers tried to unionize, knowing all their lobbyists are sure they won't be scrutinized, and knowing that the tiny little fine they might be hit with is a part of doing business when your business is to euthanize. To salt the earth, liquidate the brutalized, drench the plains in acid rain, and blame it all on rural minds. Tell them that's just what they get for voting red, and old Team Blue will fall in step and shake their heads and disconnect from humankind. They're never looking up, their fingers point to you and I. Thanks to years of being trained to frame the little guy. They've seen the film enough to tell you where the blame should lie. The poorest family's EBT card was the mastermind. Those little houses won't concern the liberal passerby. They had their dose of NPR. The passive voice will cast aside your raspy breath and swollen eyes, your burning cough that won't subside, your cat that didn't last the night, that pall of death, that blackened sky, that harvest faced in 10 years' time that reaps the waste of wealthy crimes, a million-gallon deep decline through supersites and party lines, through hurried graves and leaded pipes, past poisoned slaves and slaughtered tribes, past forgotten treaties that we authored, then we compromised, past our moral fabric, ever brittle, gray, and fossilized, and past the mass of plastic trash that's just this side of ossified. And if you find one root that thrives, the living proof of fruitful vines, just hold it close. Take in the sight. Don't plant some host for parasites who in the name of corporate gains see all that murder justified. We're such a waste of insect paste and so much cheaper crucified. We're children of the fuselage, ghosts of all the food deprived, echoes of the working class whose crystal knock was supersized. Out in Ohio, birds are drowning where they stand. Their eyes reflect a world event that devastates the land. And it's a tale of regulations disemboweled by prophet's hand, and their viscera that soaks like so much chloride in the sand. And that's Supersite.
Who are these people?
This is Great Experiment.
My lips, brand new taxes, starving all the billionaires and neutering their Visa Maxes. Topple Congress off their axis, mobilize the homeless, give them access, call it praxis. Chop a couple limbs off the legislative branches. We'll show you the difference between air as a human right and guaranteed oxygen access. Octogenarians who barely know what day it is are calling countless citizens while sitting on a dais made of ignorance that was built on the graves of the slaves made to labor for its self-declared significance, and all to build a Congress full of millionaires who make their fortunes insider trading while they shit on all the indigent. So I got a bone to pick with our leaders, and I'll start with the ligaments. I'll pick right through the muscle, dig the marrow out, and serve it to the unhoused millions living in their minivans, watching their belongings get evicted out their tenement. See, I have a dream where we breach the walls of Congress and just let them in. And what happens next will survive in only text, because there won't be any evidence. There will only be that heavy kind of feeling that pervades a space where there had been a reckoning and you can feel its remnants. Let any man who enters seeking power know that those who came before him suffocated on their eminence. That there once was a seal on the wall, but we quartered it and scattered all the pieces that it might prevent its semblance. And so we end the great experiment. We'll take all your billions, leave you 2 coins for the ferryman. Leave you drifting on a Dutchman, floating derelict among the wretched seraphim. For holy is the hand that wiped the land clean of those who pose as gentlemen. That's my time, honey. Cue the thunderclap and strike the theremin. So we end the great experiment. And then,
Who are these people?
sick of the lie, and I mean the big lie. Sick of the talk and sick of the sight. Let it be said, I was a lyrical blade at the neck of the right. I was a lyrical needle that entered the temple and opened the mind. Interim Lord of the Flies. Erecting a hall to the dead in a culture of trauma survivors who struggle each day to survive. Held under pressure by suited oppressors who peddle in blame with a little bit of victim shame on the side. You can't quite measure the spite each day when you find that you've opened your eyes in a nation refusing to honor the worth of your life. In a nation refusing to lessen the wealth of a handful to wash off the stains of our poverty lines. But they're happy to tweet on the issues and pat themselves all on the back for the bill they designed, with zero intention to sign, but all too content to soak up all the media shine. Like a bomb squad only reporting to find the device and state that they found the device, watch the device, publicly shame and denounce the device, tweet every day on the risk that could rise, then land on the cover of Vogue for their fearlessness, power, and style while facing that awful device. And behind closed doors, they can laugh with that awful device. They can shake hands with that very device that eats millions of struggling Americans' lives. And one day, when it blows sky high, they can wring all their hands at the toolkit sitting nearby with a manual walking them through the disarming and proper disposal, and all point fingers and all place blame over why it had never been tried. But if all of us hostages had those tools, we would not think twice. Instead, we were left in the dark with our hands all tied. They bring a few ball gags once in a while, and we open our mouths, and we don't ask why. A few don't mind. A few start cheering the silence who view it as some kind of positive sign. And a few shout prayers to a squad that had sworn they were here to help and they were on our side. And then suddenly, we could hear vehicles come up the drive. We saw the flashing of lights. We thought that help had arrived, only to find there was a media frenzy to see AOC wear her hair to the side. And Kamala Harris was not in attendance, but she set her shoes in a bulletproof limo with heavy security detail that all of our taxes were gracious enough to provide. And along with her warmest regards, she sent a surprise. A shipment of muzzles and gags, and all of them signed, "Cheer for your squad, or shut up and bite. President Harris." That's what I'll read through the tears in my eyes while I'm opening wide. Accepting my penance for daring to warn that the squad will be cutting your heat in the night before they take a blade to those wires. And our only hope to dismantle their precious device is in snipping the red and the blue, because they're fully entwined. To cut out the red and the blue in our minds wherever we find. So here's to combining our hands and cutting the line. Here's to denying the motor the oil it needs to be primed. Here's to a wrench in the gears of your capital, hearing it grind. Here's to the feeling of loosing your collar and breaking your binds. Here's to the bliss of forgetting your number and knowing it's fine. Knowing your name. Living your life for a purpose beyond someone's profits, of which your retirement warrants a hollow farewell, an equivalent gift of a dime. Here's to the bliss of us cutting the line. Like President Harris, I'm biding my time. Here's to the promise of breaking our binds.
Who are these people?
I think Rome will appreciate the words to Militia Intent.
Yeah,
Militia
right.
Intent is a Jesse Jett original, Rome, and it's one of the older ones. I believe it's off the Virus, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, I'm starting
If
to really
there's
know.
one of those one of my more like quotable lines, like lines you could put on a bumper sticker, it's this one. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. I feel like once you've said that, you've said it all, but I said more after that.
Yes, you did.
Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. So I play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead. And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. So I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? See, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause, now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me, 'cause I will pick my targets and assassinate them lyrically. See, I will bring them out into the town square, hook them to the pillory and leave them there. And Hillary, I'll see you there. Nah, Hillary, I'll see you there. See, you can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. See, I'd play civil if you would listen to 100,000 dead. And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. See, why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? See, welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. And welcome to the last of the free speech while we can get it. And I promise you can get it. All you corporate Democrats and second wave Confederates, GOP illusionists and neo-Nazi bureaucrats. And Stephen fucking Miller, I will see you in the aftermath. See, when all the laws are dust, there's just moral justice after that. And I will hunt you through the wasteland if it comes to that, just so I can rub you in the dirt like a cheap human Brillo pad. I can sleep fine when our beds are burning, Stephen, but I'll turn around and run into the blaze to get my pillow back. See, as long as I can lay my head down, I can live with that. I can deal with a little ash. I could feel like a little of the old me burned with the bed and the rest of my past. In the old world where we all lived and we can't get back. The old world where you didn't give and you'd still get back. Where you could rake in 12 billion and give none back. Well, those days are behind us. The virus will kill all of that. Your wealth is behind us and kindness is meant for the past. Our leaders would bind us and starve us and call it a fast. A sacrament meant for their God that they garnish in cash. They feed it the poor by the hundreds, that's all that it asks. Its hunger is legion and people in need are all it will have. Our only chance is to starve it and watch as it turns on them. You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. And that's Militia Intent.
Who are these people?
This is called Jesse Jett and the Return of the Cursed Medallion.
It's very much a Hardy Boys type of title to me.
Carved upon a marble altar, somewhere in a lab, are runes that match an amulet upon an onyx slab. Doctor in a white coat, guards in olive drab. Kissinger unconscious, but as Providence would have, when the doctor stands beside him and he holds out the medallion, unconsciously, instinctively, he reaches up and grabs. Deep inside a black site that is right beneath our streets, the sacrifice was made by which they demonized our speech. The roots that fed the tree of life decayed beneath our feet, and its sap was a suspension for a small medallion piece. As the doctor starts to sway a bit, he takes the vial and places it inside of Cheney's heart that it might never cease to beat. And I wish it wasn't so, but no, the final piece to mention is the one that fueled our overlord's unholiest ascension, that affords him zero comment on the char and the distension on the bodies in Lahaina, or the growing sickly stench of every Black Rock vulture gathered for what Biden paid as rent on the medallion shard they gave him on the eve of the convention. He'd seen its strength extend the life of all his favorite vermin, and the peace that he inherited had come from Father Thurmond, another artifact he had been gifted by the Germans to see one's will made manifest, one's destiny determined. A note attached read all our best, Werner, Fritz, and Hermann. May you marinate in Wehrmacht that ferments behind the curtains.
Now here we are today, and Biden keeps it on his person, if Biden's what you'd even call a person. The curse is something ancient. It's a raw abortifacient that they shovel down the throats of those who built and birthed a nation. It is fused into those corpses, funding war on all occasions, and it's all that's keeping Feinstein from a state of vegetation. It is carried by the Senate doctors, whispered by the nurses. It's a perk to keep you perky for your centuries of service. It's the concentrated evil that's been powering our purges, coaxing every coup along, the dogs and drones and dirges. The nations we have raped because they would not consent to purchase. It pries our leaders' eyes awake and drives our country's urges to the darkest point where human hope and human truth converges. So look in Biden's eyes and see the rush on which he surges is the same that lit the flame that burned your churches. And those flames have had their day to see the vessels burned away, but the medallion unscathed always emerges. For as election season licks its lips and smells its purpose, there at once appears a motorcade of hearses. The calling of the pit like a liturgical insurgent skinning off a sermon from the verses. He clutches a medallion of which he is just a servant, falling down a path with no divergence. Now some people wonder loudly just how low a man can go. Well, somewhere in a lab they've logged effects of pure immersion. How long can someone lay upon that ancient onyx slab before rising up a wholly different person? How blackened can one be within the ink of human greed before their voters start to see a different version? How corrupted from within before you see it in their skin? How blighted till it rises to the surface? Till it bleeds into your eyes, or you stand from time to time staring off into the press like they were comets in the skies? How long until your arteries start clogging up with flies? How long till child labor phantoms haunt you in the night? How long has the medallion been deciding who survives? And how long till it demands a higher price? That's a wrap.
Who are these people?
All right, this is called Better the Censored, you know. Radio station just censored the word devil. Clearly, we are on a different level. I guess you wouldn't notice all the rolling boulders crashing past your shoulders when you're taught to shift your focus lower, scream at all the pebbles, cheering on the bombers because you can't abide the rebels. But I bet you'll wring your bloody hands when all the dust is settled, when the last little limb is pulled from Gaza's twisted metal. Then you can say how you were led astray, and never once in all your days would you have knowingly supported all the genocide for which you clapped and prayed, but they baited you with unconfirmed blurbs about babies until you were filled with rage. Yet someone told you babies had been starving, bombed, and caged for nearly 60 years in Gaza, and you looked the other way. So regret, but make it fashion. Go and pluck the final petal off a hyacinth on Instagram for every kid they kettled. Every son that Israel imprisoned when they're little, that they tortured for a decade, then surprised with their acquittal. And when they got released and saw their parents and whatever siblings hadn't met the missiles, they stared right through their middle. Their eyes don't seem to focus, and their words are all but dribble, like they're pondering the darkest riddle. That is, how many false flags does it take to make humanity inhuman and uncivil, distorted by the revel? The crooked slant where Israel contorts into America, Biden bathing Bibi in a bloodbath in the bevel. I opened up my feed and I saw children disassembled. Turned some music on and heard the station censor devil. Imagine thinking Doja Cat's a threat to moral fabric in the single largest terror cell that ever felled a temple, that ever sparked a cleansing, that ever burned a market, that ever raped with bayonets or carpet-bombed apartments, that ever turned your water off and left you in the darkness, left you doing surgery on children while they're conscious. You sing the devil's praises every time you sing our anthem. You sing a hymn to him that watched us birth a million phantoms. You'll proudly wave his flag, and yet you will not name the devil? Well, clearly, we are on a different level. I can give you names, shit, I'll give you several. They say the devil wears a different face for every general, like a composite of the char we brought to fields of emerald, and the wail of every childhood we made ephemeral. So who else has left the stain of blood on everything they touch? Who else can starve civilians and they don't so much as blush? Who else has paid for Gaza being flattened into dust? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. That's U.S. What an ugly couple letters.
feeding shit and ignorance to those it chose to tether. From the river to the sea, both are slowly growing redder, for the devil that you know just knows you better. It knows every gut reaction it could ever make you feel. It knows fear is that which wakes you up and gets you on your wheel. It knows just the kind of story that will justify its war, and the scripts are wrapped for World War IV. So just imagine my surprise to give the radio a listen and to hear such pious morals out of Zionists and Christians that they'd take the devil's name and try to clip it from existence while they carry out his bloody business. You would wave a fascist flag, and yet you honor not your Iblis? Name you not Apollyon? Hush you now your witness? Bleed the name of Belial till tongue is rolling listless in the man-made mouth of Mammon as Lemia's whisper listens. When carts are wheeling bodies through the cities that we crushed, and the very air is rotten with decay of all that was, who else would censor devil yet behave as Legion does? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. US, but not a unity of souls. More a mass of corporations turning houses into holes, turning people into puppets, turning puppets into mold, turning mold into nutrition bars worth their weight in gold, because they're bombing every bakery and burning every field with phosphorus that never once has wanted for a meal. The devil wears a mask and it delights in the reveal, in that moment where the face is let to peel. We do not love the underdog. We do not cheer the rebels. We lust for all their blood until the dust has finally settled, then pity just ourselves that we were so misled to revel. Proudly wave his flag, and yet we will not name the devil.
Who are these people?
This is American tradition. Although he's not the slickest vulture to have ever picked a carcass, he's just the kind to catch us at our darkest for an easy harvest. Just the kind to serve us to the markets, who would see you lose your home before his donors let him bargain, who will give a cop the go-ahead to shoot you in the leg before they let you harm a target. And being an American, I love watching garbage, but it's overload. And this is not my first rodeo. I don't drop mics, but I choke slam podiums. And so we go. A little bit of Troy, a little Roanoke. Karma, come and hold me close. Tell me how you told me so. I'm overboard. I'm blowing out. I'm Holy Ghost in stolen shroud. Soaked in old petroleum and calling down the rolling clouds. Slowly moved my mouth and formed the only sound I knew, and it was always out of tune, but it's the ugly fucking truth, and now it's flowing out. Break the banks, flood the basin. I transcribed a translation, spoken out of Morse code and straight into capsaicin. And fuck, I hope it suits your station, cause it's my last release that won't require proof of vaccination. I got all my rates adjusted for infection and inflation, bloating and decay, and all the perks of radiation. We see the virus for the profits, not the patients. Honey, look at all the records set for all these corporations. When COVID started spreading, they were just this side of celebration. They got one record quarter in the bag, and now they're all impatient. They'd rather have a toe to tag than see a mouth to feed, or worse, a kid in need of education. And honey, only money's making that distinction. They're gonna thin the herd straight through starvation to the brink of our extinction. Capitalism favors innovation and is never at a loss for ways to make us hate our liberation, cloud our vision. Somewhere in America, a man with no money in the bank is on his way to City Hall to go complain about proposals for a soup kitchen. And he'll never see the tiny bit of irony that floats in all the tragedy of his position. And he's not the only one. It's an American tradition. And so it goes in endless perpetuity. We've never deviated from the mission. I set out the ritual. I listened from the sand, held my head between my hands and muttered, dying would be easy. Life's an everyday decision. And I'm not the only one. It's an American tradition.
It's an American tradition.
I bet you thought that Trump would go to jail and Joe would listen. Well, you're not the only one. It's an American tradition.
It's a great American tradition.
That's how you wrap an episode.
I had to, man. I had to.
I love it. I love it.
Who are these people?
La, da, 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 da. Last stand, and I came to deliver. Been called a Clinton operative, a Russian, and a grifter by libs awash in student debt and proud to be an intern, sucking up to pigs who'll get a tax cut in the midterms. You cut the ties but never heal the wrist burns. Capitalist shackles wrap and penetrate like ringworms around the necks of those whose deaths will not affect the king's purse or the coffers of the company the king serves. Those who manufacture mandated tinctures, their safety data hanging from a fixture, half a mile skyward, dangling from the rafters. My grift is sobbing till I'm cackling with laughter. Guess I would have made a decent actor. I'd be great at crying on command until they cut plus 40 minutes after. When the director waves a hand, it ain't a rap, it's now a legal matter. Sugar, my grift is weeping on a mic until I'm hacking up airstrike verses till it's bombs away and batter up. Swinging on these bigots, they keep killing us to fatten up. Kill the switch, eat the rich, I think they're finally fat enough. Grab your knife and fork, the world is yours, just say you've had enough. And if you're comfy, you should go ahead and laugh it up. Now tell me how the most important vote I'll ever cast is like the choosing of a bus, in that it might not take you anywhere you want, but no one can deny the fact the bus is now no longer where it was, and that's the kind of progress we should celebrate and trust. Spoken like a kid that never took a bus. Spoken like a piece of shit that used some cash to mask their stink and truly thinks they're one of us. Spoken like a terminally unserious person who equates our cries for rights to mixed up orders from a server and paints a privileged picture of what they would label urgent if the worst thing they experienced in life has been the time the waiter accidentally brought a tray of gold flake scallop when you clearly ordered gold flake urchin. And now you're storming out the restaurant and hopping in a Tesla. You got 80 pounds of Tony Fauci merchant. Rewind, 2 chains won't make you wait in such a long line. Life's not just a way to waste your free time. Air that's fit to breathe is not a free ride. Free ride. It's best to place your bets on weaponizing the identity of every limp progressive claiming grassroots integrity. Policy's a slippery slope for all of its complexity, so flex your brave resistance with this Ilhan Omar NFT. It's numbered 1 of 723. And each depicts her valiantly championing a bill before she lays it at a donor's feet. And she can throw her hands up in the air with AOC and say, if only Nina Turner could have voted present too, that's why we need another seat. We need some more progressives we elect to only tweet who live to serve humana, and their label of elective slapped on every patient's gravest needs. While every station plays the theme that medical professionals agree on the effectiveness and safety of injections authorized for this emergency. And in purely unrelated news, the profits of the ones who manufacture vaccines just increased by nearly 36 billion with a fucking B. Sometimes it feels like we're the only ones that see. Sometimes it feels like all of us are lost at sea. And every time we think we see an island on the tip of the horizon, it turns out to be another measure making sure we're kept within the watchful eye of murderous authority. So no, I guess my grift is crying for the future they denied us, where the people who would buy us are a mockable minority. And we are more than genomes under warranty. And we are more than serfs in constant quarantine. If I had a single breath left, I'd let the chorus scream that I denounce our leaders, claiming none for all and more for me. None for all and more for me. None for all and more for me. Rewind, 2 chance won't make you wait in such a long line. Life's not just a way to waste your free time. Air that's fit to breathe is not a free ride. Free ride. Rewind, 2 chains won't make you wait in such a long line. Life's not just a way to waste your free time. Air that's fit to breathe is not a free ride. And that's the grift.
Who are these people?
In these days of global disaster, all the money disappears with the fame. I'll say what I want and burn my masters, and I suggest you do the same.
I'm gonna sample the shit out of that, I hope you know. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Laying down. Alright, I won't name names, so he won't call legal. We'll call him Bo Jiden, and he killed Glass-Steagall. He's on the trail, off the rails, profits over people. But I won't call him a Nazi, cause I haven't seen his eagle. But I have seen his equal, and she just left the White House. I've seen his equal, and he's seated in the fight now. I've seen the evil in a man who'll shake the hands of workers, knowing they've been slaving for a feeble wage and little purpose, all to keep afloat his bloated lifestyle. All to keep us focused on our phones in the meanwhile. Well, if I'm a broken record, baby, this has been a time trial. But I will not go quietly into the future I'm supposed to hand to my child. I will not politely hold my tongue when I see voters in the web of suppression. So I'm about to burn the list of things we shouldn't mention. Alzheimer's causes bouts of both confusion and aggression. Sentences that fall apart in paper-thin patience. And I have not spent the past 4 years practicing critiques only to need them for the next administration. And you know, part of me would love to vote for Trump to really stuff you Biden diatribe junkies who would tie us to a chair to watch him push out Bernie Sanders, say he needs to just accept the loss and have your little celebration. Well, I don't know about you, but I have too much love for this misguided nation. So I can't take another president who treats the world like he's a wealthy tourist and he's just too good to talk to all us Haitians. My only choice should not have to be trading one president who chews the Achilles heel of race relations, plays up all our prejudices, fears, and darkest motivations, for one who hands us over to the corporations like we've all been sex trafficked. And I wish that was exaggeration. But it's part nightmare, part fascination. It's mostly fascists saying we're a cushion generation. Well, they got the funding made to lift you out your fucking station while you miss your shift at your third job because you can't afford your medication. And now the pain of your mobility is tied into the need to keep afloat and keep your family just a side of devastation. Well, here's the catch to immunization. You won't get to have a say in what they give your baby, and in 20 years your baby better be prepared to pay right through the nose to be inoculated. So don't you be surprised when all your insulin is confiscated, because someone found a buyer who's prepared to hike the price up even higher. And if you land in a coma, just assume because you're out in the conversation. You're not around to stage a demonstration. You're not around to protest human rights being eliminated. not around to protest all these voters being silenced and intimidated. Maybe you can hear it in my intonation, that one man's revolution is another's renovation. One hand better wash the other or it's amputated. You know I hate to be so black and white, but gray has led us straight into the mist and now the lamp is faded. And I don't think that we have very long before the night is falling, quicker than anticipated. Quicker than the stocks crashed, quicker than your IRA was withered and emaciated. So why obey the men who solved the crisis that they orchestrated? Why are we so pleased to see a corpse get up and speak that we ignore the way the corpse debated? That he spoke in fragmented misinformation, that he tried to make an honest man's mistake out of a fabrication, or that all the major networks eat it up and tolerate it. So whose side are they on if they can point it out in Trump but act like they don't see it in the man they want to call our savior? God, who keeps paying you to do such sick, dishonest labor? Oh shit, we do? No shit, me too? Everything you buy will find a way to own or eat you? Companies that feed you fund agendas to defeat you, strip your wits away, rip your wick away, ultimately put you in a place to have to loot and feed your kid today, then detain and beat you. Oh, how is such an obvious process not see-through? At least not without a UV light. This year we'll purge our liberties with zero end in sight. So if you can't cast a vote that gives you hope about our plight, if you pick up the pen but in your heart it isn't right, think about the millions going hungry every night. And have the guts to write in.
No one.
Have the guts to fight. Just have the guts to fight.
Oh, hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Laying down.
Hear my words, there's no time to spare. We killed democracy, it's rotting in the square. And with its last breath, it cursed the very air with the toxic miasma of class warfare. Convulsions were brief. It seized for a minute, then it ceased to fidget. It was just deep sleep in a city-wide gibbet. A lot of sweet nothings like the rations we were given. A film crew followed them into the city limits to document the distribution. Just a little piece of human interest lost within the mass confusion. Some nice shots of a clean white van. Neighbors helping neighbors with their clean white hands. Never mind the boxes being empty like the cans. Never mind a photo op that didn't feed a single man. And this is nothing you can blame on one single man or his supporting and a moral horde of sycophants. We set the stage, we wrote the play, we gave the man a script, we highlighted every line he had to say. We're only in this boat because we chose to sail away. We didn't core out the decay, we let it spread. We watched the nation warp into the noxious dictatorship it is today. We made conditions perfect. It's almost like we want it this way. It's almost like we want it this way.
Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Laying down.
Woof. That's Town Hall.
Who are these people?
it's possible to sleep through days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make. God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, you were safe. You were safe. I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here away. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, you were safe. Oh, you were safe. Fresh off the mask, the brand new cancers grow. Boys come here to vie for your vote. Come here to cry in the camps and to mourn at the shore for the bodies that float by the wreck of an immigrant boat. Then it's back to their luxury home. Couple security booths and a moat. Couple cigars, a little escargot, a little booze and a soak. And they just breathe in the steam and the smoke. They got pink salt, lavender, candles are low. Shit, when you do what you do, gotta lighten the load. And he got a life of his own, it's a sight to behold. And it's a lot to control, to decipher the code or to siphon the soul. See, the cost of a good night's sleep for the working elite is a bargain, no matter the toll. Worth any wager, and that comes straight from the mouth of the means to the goal that will swallow us whole. It's right for the picking if you don't mind mold, and you know I don't. Maybe we're pleasantly prone, maybe we're taking a licking, compliantly ticking and ticking and ticking, but never explode. No, I don't deliver the prettiest image, but damn if it isn't an accurate vision of a natural vision of rage at the system and abject heartbreak, patiently waiting for any who'll listen. That little blue bird watching your words is a federal carrier pigeon. It's a Langley first. It's a patient observer who hears what it wants and trained for the worst. Oh, you got nothing to hide? They'll be the ones to decide that after they root through your purse, after they read all your texts, after they raid your apartment and confiscate all of its contents, conjure up evidence out of the air on a wing and a prayer and malicious intelligence nonsense. Any presumption of innocence long since gone, right along with your comforts and constants. See, historically first they'll come for the communists. So why in the fuck would I say I'm a communist? Well, it might be I love my community more than the monsters of opulence, who are holding us hostage, who are vomiting promises. Might be I'm all done seeing our pensions and benefits harvested. Might be I'm all done watching the populace being disarmed in the guise of an armistice. Watching a woman collapse on the floor who will rise no more, get wheeled out the door, and you're next in line for the pharmacist. Shit, if you could get me to vote, it's a hard no confidence. But part of the charm of deception is politics wearing the mask of incompetence. It's all in the art of austerity, darling, it's all in the slide of the providence. Till home is as wide as your cubicle height, and only as deep as your coffin is. Maybe I'm miles away from impatient aching to break off the head of the snake where the capital lust, reptile brain, and margin of profit is. Like off with his. Like off with his. I guess this isn't such an awful place. That what you want me to say. You prove it's possible to sleep through days and to still think you're right here away. The cost of living isn't much to make, but it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, you were safe.
Cy Oppenheimer here, Democratic Progressive for State Seat 12, and I'd like to speak to you about one of the most serious issues facing me. Some of you are aware the Oppenheimer campaign has become positively embroiled in scandal. Some of you may have heard wild, unsubstantiated rumors of myself arriving at a tennis event in a drunken stupor alongside Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun, a longtime personal friend who I have affectionately known as the Hoon Dog, and aggressively flashing a passing senior center tour van. I would like to declare wholeheartedly and for the record that this was demonstrably false in every aspect. I would also like to announce my plans to run the entire interview circuit as a gesture of good faith. And to further illustrate my sincerity, I'm partnering with the good folks at Blue Wave Books to release my side of this ugly debacle. There in a flash, the true story of how one van full of lying seniors almost derailed the political aspirations of America's most promising candidate. Thank you for your time, and as always, God bless every American who believes me.
Last stand, and I came to deliver. Been called a Clinton operative, a Russian, and a grifter. By libs, a Washington student debt, proud to be an intern, sucking up to pigs who get a tax cut in the midterms. You cut the ties but never heal the wrist burns. Capitalist shackles wrap and penetrate like ringworms around the necks of those whose deaths will not affect the king's purse or the coffers of the company the king serves.